A lot of people always talk about Lee Duffy's finest hour, going up to Newcastle and knocking Viv Grimm's doorman down like Skittles. He did that a few times. But what's not commonly known is about 6 weeks before he died, he went on holiday with Neil Booth and the girlfriends, stayed in places such as Newcastle, Blackpool, the lakes. Um, Basically, I think in total it was around 10 days in of just non-stop partying. And in my opinion, I think the most impressive, certainly the most um, astonishing story regarding Lee and the fighting was probably the one where he was in Blackpool. I'll tell you the story. Um, right, he basically went away for a few days. I think it's in the books, and I think a few people. I mean, that picture where he's looking his most impressive, where he sat in the car bonnet like that. That was in the lakes. It was took by Neil Booth, and but anyway, going back to Blackpool. There's a nightclub in Blackpool called Cloud. I don't know whether it's still there. It was quite a big one of the main ones a few years back. Anyway, Neil was queuing up with Lee Duffy. Now, Neil Booth, he's never ever had anything to do with any of my projects. I wish he would, but he's not going to, and I've got to respect him on that. And I've heard lots of stories, which is not for books, but I think there's a lot of people that have done books now and talking, and Neil's, I know he's never going to do one, but that guy has one hell of a book in him. He was actually the closest to Lee in the last 3 years of his life, and in the last 16 months of his life, they were literally like the other half of each other. But anyway, this story was they were nightclubbing. Sorry, they were waiting. They were queuing up outside of a nightclub called Cloud, and one of the customers got his man bits out, and Lee seen it and shouted, "Oh, you daft lad, put your cock away now!" And the guy turned round, no idea who he was talking to, and he shouted, "Shut up, you big dopey! See you next Tuesday." So you can imagine what's happened next. I mean, this of all the people to shout that to, it was Lee Duffy. And anyway, before literally seconds before they were going to fight, the whole crowd started making noises like going coo coo coo, like bird noises. And Neil, he was clocking what was going on, and before he could say anything, Lee Duffy just literally just broke into action and just literally punched anyone who stood next to him. He was literally like a pig in shit. He just literally went up and down, punching people, and I was told it was literally double figures. He never had a mark on him apart from his knuckles. That's how good he was. And anyway, I mean, there was one massive brawl, and anyway, Duffy came away without a mark on him. Neil actually got hit over the head with a hammer. I felt the bump on the back of his head. It must have fractured his skull or cracked his skull or something. So they went to a pizza shop, and the owner in that shop come out with some kind of knife to like attack Booth and Duffy. And it was the only time I've ever heard, or maybe the second time where I've ever heard of Lee Duffy using weapons. He took the knife off the guy, cut him right up the middle, and then they vanished because obviously the police were going to come. So they went back to the Neil did show me where it was. It was a hotel in Blackpool, not Blackpool, the lake. So this must have been when they were in Blackpool anyway. And Neil had literally half his head hanging off, and but in the before they were fighting, Lee had overheard someone in the crowd saying there was some all night rave on Blackpool Beach. So so anyway, basically Lee took Neil home, stuck like, I mean, the Neil literally needed a hospital badly, But what Lee done is he done this kind of like makeshift, like hospital bed. He basically wrapped a few socks around his head, and dragged Boovy to go back out. So I think they told the girlfriends they were going out for more fags or a few cans or something, and they went back out, and queuing up to this all night rave, Lee pulls a bag of E's out, and Boovy's like, Lee, where'd you get them? You didn't tell me you had them. And I've put this story, Paul Venice has put this story in the A Very South Bank Story, and that book is predominantly mostly South Bank, but the story, it's never been in any books before, and Paul Venice used it because obviously he's close to Jimmy the Bag, John Bailey. I think a few people do know in South Bank, and Lee just turned to Neil and said, when I was battering all them blokes up the road, this is how switched on he was. He had the knowledge, and he had the, I don't know what kind of word you use. He was that switched on to stop fighting for a second, grab the bag of E's that this whoever he's been beaten had dropped, picked him up, put him in his pocket, and then starts fighting again. And Paul Venice said to me, he said that really does surmise, kind of summing up a lad from South Bank. Absolutely fascinating story, and then they went to an all night party, and you know, Boovy was there, half his head hanging off, and he must have looked like that. Is it Pudsey the bear? Do you know where there's children in need, where there's like a one eye and one? Neil's absolutely fabulous guy. I know him in his 50s, but I dread to think how wild he was when he was like 19, 20, 21, when he was running about with the Duff, because there's no doubt about it. You know, take the violence out the equation. Neil Boove was as crazy as Lee Duffy. Obviously Lee was in a world of his own for dishing out violence and having a passion for punching people. In my opinion, of getting to know Neil very well, he was more one of the lads. He was like a ladies' man. He was more, everybody liked him. I've never met anyone who has a bad word to say about him. But he just literally was, he didn't need Duracell batteries. Neil Boove, even now in his 50s, would literally still party. And I don't think he'll ever change. I think he'll literally be that Neil Boove when he's 88. And I think that's what Lee loved about him. He just literally it was just like, you know, there was nothing that he wouldn't have done. If you wanted to go shoplifting or spend days in a crack house or go joyriding or go twatting cars or go, just anything, there was just, that's that, do you know what I mean? And a lot of people who know Neil Boove will be, you'd be nodding your head when you're agreeing with me, because obviously you know him. But I think that's, you know, it just really sums up to how special he was in a warrior way, or, you know, a gladiatorial way, because when you look at some of the stories, it's a shame actually, because I do know a lot. I have been told a lot of stories in confidence that can never see the light of day, you know, and I've just got to let them go in one ear and out the other. But, you know, the guy was 26, just gone, and what he did in this life for that short period will never be done again. One of the police officers said to me, there'll never be another Lee Duffy. He was a one-off. And I just don't think anybody will come along again in Great Britain and do the things he did, to the level he did, and just, you know, just cause as much carnage and destruction, and then was gone. But that was a story with Lee Duffy outside Cloud nightclub on Blackpool Beach. I'm not even sure whether the nightclub's still open. But yeah, that's a story. And when you think of stories like that, you're just like, wow, you know, what a character. And yeah, fascinating, absolutely fascinating. So the books are done now. I'm completely done with all the Teesside books. I did say that, and Paul Venice dragged me back. But no, I'm completely done. And, you know, unless Chris Rea rings me, Jonathan Woodgate, Stuart, they're definitely from a true crime element. It's done completed, and I'm on now for other things. I've got 2 years work lined up. But yeah, I just can't help, and I'm sure there's a lot more people out there who have agreed with me. I can't help but be fascinated by this young kid from South Bank. And as I said, the books are done now, but I wouldn't be surprised if the next couple of years you see some kind of, because obviously I know Lee's going to feature in the Sayers film, and Paul Venice is going to play him. But I just think that in the next 3 to 5 years, I really, really wouldn't be surprised to see some kind of Guy Ritchie coming up. And excuse me, and we've seen all the films on you, the Charles Bronsons, the Crays, the Essex Boys, Paul Ferris. Oh God, there's so many. There's so many. Lenny McLean, Roy Shaw is being talked about being made. I'm making a documentary next year with the Shaw family, but there's so many, and obviously the Paul Sykes film as well. But there's a lot of stories out there that are getting money flung at them, huge projects, huge opportunities for real life stories, and I don't think none come close to being as fascinating, as intriguing as the Lee Duffy one. So thank you so much for listening to me, guys. My anxiety is getting a lot better thanks to these guys. New Hemp, I'm a proud ambassador. If anyone would like to purchase any New Hemp cannabis CBD oil, go to our website, and don't forget to type in Jamie20 and you get a 20% discount, because we are the most cheapest and most effective around. Trust me, I've tried them all, and I was ravaged with anxiety. This was just a build-up of doing what I've done. I'm on 19 books and 3 documentaries in under 4 years. So it's a kind of, it hit me a bit like a car, just literally. And obviously you've seen how bad I was, but as I can see, I'm on the mend now. But thank you so much for subscribing to our channel, War Cry Publishing. Don't forget to click and subscribe. God bless. Thank you so much.